If I could promise you that your picky toddler would be happily eating vegetables within 30 days, you'd think I was crazy, right? Well, after testing every expert strategy on my most stubborn little eater, I discovered which ones actually work versus which ones made things worse. The truth is, researchers were shocked to find that up to 50% of toddlers become picky eaters by age 2. But here's what they didn't expect. Forcing them to eat actually makes the problem last longer. So today, I'm walking you through the 4 essential strategies that transformed meal times from battles to breakthroughs in our 30-day experiment. These 4 proven approaches are the pressure-free method that makes toddlers 3 times more likely to try new foods, the sensory play technique that turns food refusal into food curiosity, the bridge food strategy that sneaks in nutrition without any hiding or trickery, and the family meal reset that creates confident eaters for life. The first thing you should do is completely stop pressuring your child to eat. I know. When your toddler survives on nothing but crackers and milk, every instinct screams to make them eat something nutritious. But researchers from Children's Hospital of Philadelphia found that pressure to eat creates the exact opposite effect we want. When I tested this with my neighbor's daughter, who literally ate only 5 foods, her mama was skeptical. "How can doing nothing be doing something?" she asked me. But here's what happened. We set up what experts call the division of responsibility. Basically, parents decide what, when, and where to serve food, and children decide whether and how much to eat. No more just one more bite, or you can't leave until you finish. The rules were simple. Serve meals family style. Include at least one food the child usually likes, and then completely ignore whether they eat or not. The first week was rough. That little one ate bread and butter for dinner 3 nights straight, while her vegetables sat untouched. But then something shifted. Without the pressure, she started poking at the carrots with her fork. By day 10, she licked one. Day 14, she took a tiny bite and spit it out. Her mama nearly cried when on day 18, she actually ate 2 baby carrots without anyone saying a word. Studies show that children need 8 to 15 exposures to accept new foods, but most parents give up after 3 tries. When you remove pressure, kids feel safe to explore at their own pace. One research team found that children whose parents used this approach ate more variety and showed less mealtime anxiety after just 4 weeks. Next, you need to make food exploration feel like play, not pressure. This one surprised me because I always thought playing with food was bad manners. But occupational therapists who specialize in feeding say that for extreme picky eaters, touching and playing with food is actually the first step to eating it. So we tested the food exploration approach. Instead of serving meals with the expectation of eating, we did sensory activities. We painted with yogurt, built towers with cucumber slices, made stamps with bell peppers. The rule was, no pressure to taste, just explore. One mama in our group said her son hadn't touched a vegetable in 6 months. But when we let him use broccoli as paintbrushes, he was fascinated by the texture. By week 2, these kids were voluntarily licking foods they'd never even touched before. The key is making it genuinely pressure-free. We'd say things like, "What does this carrot feel like?" instead of, "Why don't you try the carrot?" Researchers at Texas WIC found that when children engage multiple senses with food through play, they're significantly more likely to taste it within 30 days. The third strategy is to use bridge foods, and this changed everything for us. Instead of trying to jump from chicken nuggets straight to grilled chicken, we created stepping stones. A bridge food is something similar to what your child already likes, but slightly different. If they love McDonald's nuggets, try a different brand. Once they accept that, try nuggets with a different coating. Then strips instead of nuggets. Then grilled strips. then regular chicken. This works because researchers discovered that picky eaters' brains perceive new foods as threats, literally triggering a fear response. But when foods look similar to safe foods, that fear response doesn't activate as strongly. We had one toddler who only ate plain pasta. His bridge progression went plain pasta, pasta with butter, and a tiny sprinkle of Parmesan, pasta with more cheese, pasta with a drop of tomato sauce mixed in the butter. Within 30 days, he was eating regular spaghetti with meat sauce. The magic is in tiny, almost invisible steps. Each success builds confidence for the next step. Studies from King's College London show that this gradual exposure method works because it respects children's natural food neophobia while gently expanding their comfort zone. But the last strategy completely changed how I think about feeding toddlers. Your fourth step is creating positive family meals without making food the focus. This sounds backwards, but stick with me. Harvard research found that children who eat family meals in a positive atmosphere are more likely to accept new foods, regardless of what's served. But here's the catch. Most of us make meals all about the food. Eat your vegetables. Try one bite. You liked it last time. Instead, we tested making meal times about connection. We played simple games like, "Tell me your favorite part of today," or "What made you laugh?" We put on fun music. We let the toddlers help set the table with special placemats they decorated. The only food rule was including one safe food on every plate. No commenting on what anyone ate or didn't eat. One family told me their daughter had been surviving on yogurt and goldfish for months. They were exhausted from the daily battles. When they switched to this approach, making dinner time about family fun instead of food consumption, something beautiful happened. Without the spotlight on her eating, she started copying what others were doing. First, she arranged her food like her older brother. Then, she started using her fork the same way. By week 3, she was actually tasting foods just because everyone else was enjoying them. The research backs this up completely. Children learn eating behaviors through modeling, but only in low-pressure environments. A massive study from the Feeding Infants and Toddlers study found that positive family meal times were the strongest predictor of healthy eating patterns that lasted into adolescence. Now here's something that might surprise you. We discovered that combining all 4 strategies created a compound effect. The families who used pressure-free serving and sensory play and bridge foods and positive mealtime saw the biggest transformations. One mama texted me on day 28. She just asked for broccoli. Asked for it. This from a child who hadn't eaten a green vegetable in over a year. But I saved the most powerful realization for last because this reframes everything. Picky eating peaks around age 3. But research shows that 50% of picky eaters won't naturally outgrow it without intervention. The earlier you start these strategies, the easier the journey. We're not fixing broken eaters. We're guiding little humans who are biologically programmed to be cautious about new foods for their own protection. The families who succeeded didn't aim for perfect eating in 30 days. They celebrated tiny wins, touching a new food, letting it sit on the plate without crying, taking one lick. They understood that raising a confident eater is like tending a garden. You can't force the flowers to bloom, but you can create the perfect conditions for growth. Look, I know how exhausting it is when your toddler refuses everything except beige foods, when other parents brag about their adventurous eaters while you're packing the same lunch for the 100th day. But these strategies work because they honor your child's developmental stage while gently expanding their world. Every child can learn to eat a variety of foods. They just need the right approach and a parent who believes in the process. Which leads me to something that transformed how our families approached this whole journey. When you understand the science behind picky eating and have a clear roadmap, those mealtime battles transform into opportunities for connection. That's why I created a complete guide that walks you through implementing these strategies step by step, including meal plans, sensory play activities, and troubleshooting for common challenges. You'll find it linked below. Because every parent deserves peaceful family dinners, and every child deserves to discover the joy of real food.